Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the MMA Brothers. This is episode 3. Apologize for our absence last week. I was dealing with some injuries, and Kobe was away, and now our third man is away in Wisconsin. But we're here, and we are here to recap UFC 181, which went down yesterday and was incredible. Where do we start? I say we start from the top.
This card definitely it definitely reminded me why I'm here. Why we've been going through a pretty a rough patch as of late in terms of card quality and what the UFC is in terms of in terms of a UFC caliber event. 2 weeks ago we were talking about how good that Bellator, the Bellator card looked in our very first episode, the tentpole event.
Yeah.
Looking at how good that looked, and compared to what we were comparing it to, the Fox Sports 1 cards, mostly Fight Pass cards. This, like I said, this reminded me what a UFC caliber event is and what it feels like. A double title header. It was
definitely a throwback
so
to
cool.
The old.
It was awesome.
Loaded cards, not like anymore. There's just so many events. A pay-per-view just feels like you get a title fight in the main event, and then there's a couple more good fights.
There's some Russians and some Brazilians out there making their way to the top.
This was loaded.
This was
had
loaded.
Stars everywhere.
I knew. Headline in the prelims was Faber.
Prelims again, second prelims in a row, and boy did he get murked.
He really didn't do well.
He got handled.
What was that in the post-fight press with Faber? There was this crowd of boos. Someone asked him about the eye pokes, and set this up. Francisco Rivera fighting Uriah Faber in the headliner of the preliminary card on Fox Sports 1, and Rivera's doing really well, kind of taking it to Faber, and then Faber gets he pokes Rivera in the eye. Definitely not. I mean, it didn't look intentional. It's just he's getting trilled on, and he reaches out to kind of try and stop it. Catches Rivera in the eye. Rivera, runs over to the cage, kind of.
He smelled blood. He went for it.
Yeah, and Faber, saw he was hurt and jumped on him, and as he was explaining that at the post-fight presser, this just crowd of boos came in.
I believe they were cheers for Robbie Lawler getting there.
Were they?
Because
But there were so many boos too.
It was just noise. It was
just noise.
Just noise. It was, because I remember we were watching it, and Bryce was, when they did it, Bryce was like, that was disrespectful as hell, because they were just right in the middle of talking to Faber, and everyone just cut him off and just was like, Lawler's here, shut up, let's focus, this guy's over here doing big stuff.
Yeah, and before we'll just go in the order that the pay-per-view went in. So the card kicked off with
Tony Ferguson.
And
Abel Trujillo.
Trujillo. Yeah, Abel Trujillo. Fun fight. That was a fun fight. Definitely two guys that were... Abel Trujillo is one of those guys that's always going to be marketable. Therefore, you're going to see him a lot more. Even though he kind of floats around this middle tier, right? I mean, where Tony Ferguson has been taken on, and
he's got a rough skill set in that he is a heavy hand slugger who goes out every time and empties his everything in the first round. And if that doesn't pay off, he's done for. If you can get him into the second and the third, and Lord, if he ever makes it to a fourth.
There's not much an easier blueprint to beat a fighter in the UFC than for
He
a
makes it too
dangerous
easy.
guy. Trujillo he doesn't do himself any favors with his pace, but that's the thing. He doesn't. When I think of him in my mind, he doesn't do anything well enough to be able to have that technical. Let's draw him out. Let's draw him out. He doesn't have the. He's not a Rory McDonald that can pick at you for 3 rounds and then KO you. It's, well, I have all my energy right now, and with all my energy, if I catch you once, you could possibly go to sleep. Yeah. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
For a little bit. And then Ferguson got his legs under him and then did what Ferguson does to guys his own his own skill level, which he looked great. He looked awesome.
He's just a better fighter. I mean, all around, he's just better. He's a more technically skilled person. He deserved the win.
Yeah, for sure. And then right after that fight with the UFC's big announcement.
And resume. So, yes, following the first fight of the night, we got a special announcement. And this was the reveal of the signing of CM Punk.
CM Punk.
The glorious 0-0 record in MMA. And at age 36. A lot of talking about it. I don't care. I mean, I don't think it's that bad. It's not a bad thing by any means.
It's definitely not a bad thing. It's going to get exposure.
He's money. I mean, it's...
he's definitely money. Here, I'm looking up, seeing what his background is.
People are going to want to see him fight, regardless.
I mean, I want to see him. I want to see him fight.
Countless people want to do that. You put him against somebody easy, with a name, easy, marketable. It's a good fight. I mean... Whatever, it's not hurting anybody. Whatever. James Toney's been here.
Okay, yeah.
Kimbo Slice has been here.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean,
Mitrione started in the UFC at 0-0.
Amir Sadalis started at one of the CM Punk said that he may start at middle or welter, which they do. Not it's a little. To compare it to the Brock Lesnar thing is. It definitely makes sense. They're both pro wrestlers, huge pro wrestlers. Let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay. So his name we'll probably have to start calling him his real name once he starts fighting, and it is Philip Jack Brooks.
That's unfortunate.
Philip Jack Brooks, also known as CM Punk. I'm not seeing anything in his wiki that stands out as he was some killer collegiate wrestler. Okay, so he does train. He's been in some Gracie breakdowns. He does train with the Gracies, which so did Schaub. Which brings us to our next
perfect
next
transition
fight.
there.
Travis Brown took on Brendan Schaub. Drew a blank. Brendan Schaub looked scared most of the fight.
Yes, most of the time. He is notorious for having a ridiculously glass chin, while Travis Brown is notorious for having a very solid chin. So, this just went exactly how I thought it was going to happen.
Brown's movement was awesome
yeah.
In this fight, and the way he moved looked almost like the way where his hands were and the way he was walking looked like a heavyweight Conor McGregor, kinda in that stance. Except what I noticed from Travis Brown is working with the new coach that he works with, who is the boxing coach of Ronda Rousey. I noticed that he used his lower extremities way less.
Was hardly throwing any kicks.
And when he did, it came close.
Yeah.
And even in the clinch, he wasn't really throwing too many knees. I think there was maybe an exchange where he threw some knees on Schaub, but I mean, not a lot of kicks. He was kind of just walking forward and keeping his hands ready to fire off. Kept looking for that uppercut, which he eventually found.
Yeah.
But
Schaub didn't put up much of a fight.
No, I think it was I mean, not that there aren't more than 11 heavyweights total in the UFC. So I mean, like
they don't have a lot of options, really.
A win puts you almost in like the top 15. If there is 15 the
That's
top 15 is the roster. So a win puts you above a few of them, and yeah, so it was a good thing for Brown to get that win, get a win, but against Ashab, it is just, in my opinion, it's just a win.
Yeah, it doesn't really do much of it.
Back in the other column.
Yeah. Backtracking one fight, we skipped over. It was Todd Duffy and Anthony Hamilton.
Oh yeah, we forgot about Duff Man. Listen, Todd Duffy looked awesome.
Todd Duffy, man.
And he did what Todd Duffy does, and he knocked out his opponent.
Yeah.
In
seconds, like
31.
Some seconds.
Yeah, it was under a minute. I know that, and
that's just what that man
does.
That's
a way to come back from 2 years. That's a good way to come back from 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm again talking about how little the heavyweight division. I mean, you put him up against.
I mean, like that almost puts him in the top 10.
I mean, that almost puts him up against Travis Brown in the next fight. Like that
is a possible.
That's
thing.
a very possible thing, because who else are you going to play?
Yeah, there's not a lot to work with up there.
And at heavyweight, what's marketable? 2 guys that throw and put people to sleep. And going back to the Brown fight, this huge right hand on the ground.
Oh man, it came from a mile away.
It looked like one of the most brutal ground punches I've seen in a while. Brown brought the hammer down on Schaub's noggin, and it looked like a World Star Hip Hop video.
It was fantastic.
It certainly got the reaction in the room of a World Star Hip Hop video. It was just, oh no! And somehow Schaub stayed conscious.
Yeah, he made it through that one.
Yeah.
So that brings us to our co-main event. First title fight of the night, Pettis, Melendez. Both coming off of some pretty long layoffs. Pettis, man. Pettis just does this.
I don't know. I mean, Melendez did everything.
Melendez
right.
did everything
He did everything right.
He
did everything that a Melendez would have to do to win that fight.
And it just didn't matter. But he did everything.
A round in, I was pretty sure that's the way it was going to go.
Right.
Though. It looked like Pettis couldn't. Pettis had a lot, even though he had that emphatic comeback. Right. He caught Melendez in the inside, was able to cinch up that guillotine. Dude, Melendez looked good.
Yeah, I mean, he was just putting constant pressure on him, not letting him get any room to get anything off, and even in just keeping that space so tight, Pettis still found room to get off just one shot to drop him, then submit him. Guy's never been finished, and to submit him like that was just, I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, Pettis, this is 3-4 finishes of elite people in a row now. I mean, he wins these fights that he may not supposed to win, but I mean, like, he gets it done. He's a finisher, and if he can stay healthy, which he didn't get hurt in this, I see a pretty quick turnaround.
Oh yeah,
Nurmagomedov was there. He was at the pros fight, and he was asking questions. It was kind of weird, but he said he's not going to be ready till April, May. He said maybe even June. So he was out there calling for this fight, and I was like, man, I really just don't want him to wait that long. I'd rather see him take on the winner of Cerrone and
Monster. As inactive as he's been,
yeah.
Due to, I mean, not by choice, by injury, but he needs to get back to it.
Right.
He needs to just start knocking him down if he really wants to be, that guy, that Wheaties dude. He needs to start just putting in work.
And I think he will.
I think he can. In a division like the lightweight division that moves, it's constantly shuffling. Guys are getting beat. Guys are going on crazy tears like Tony Ferguson.
Tony Ferguson, by the way,
He can
backtracking
knock
a
him
little
down.
bit, Tony Ferguson was perfect at the post-fight press conference. When they put a mic in front of him, he said exactly what he needed to say. He turned to his right, looked right down the road to Pettis, and was like, hey, keep that belt warm, I'm coming for it. Everyone out here, I'm here, and I'm going to finish you guys. He talked just the right amount where everyone else is being quiet, not making any noise. He talked enough, definitely, I think, to get him into the top 10 and to get him into the talks of these title shot talks.
Looks good.
He looks good.
And I don't think that he's ready to take on
No, he's not there
Pettis.
yet.
He's not there
But
yet, but
he is like,
you build him.
he's at a
against
10
him.
right now. 3
Yeah,
more fights, he's there.
Yeah.
This will be a big year for him coming up, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And you gotta look at who Pettis fights next. So you got to think that it's probably going to be the winner of Cerrone and Miles Jury. Not a bad contender as far as a lightweight contender goes.
The only other real option would be the winner of Dos Anjos and Diaz, which will be this coming Saturday. But Diaz, I can't see them giving him a title shot with a win.
He could sell one though.
He could sell one.
He could sell one, and there's bad blood between him and Pettis. They said on the set there was more bad blood between Diaz and Pettis than Melendez and Pettis.
I can believe that.
I believe that, and I believe that if Diaz can finish,
Yeah, it depends
Dos
on that fight.
Anjos?
We have to see how that fight goes.
I don't
personally
see why
hate,
he wouldn't.
I hate Dos Anjos.
I don't.
hate him. I want him gone.
I don't
want him
hate
to
him. He's just not marketable, really, at all.
At all. There's no marketability about him
not
whatsoever.
particularly. I mean, if he keeps putting on performances like he did against Ben Henderson, yes. If you keep putting people to sleep that you're supposed to get smashed by. But then again, that's another fight where if I put him and Pettis together, I think every I don't know what it is with the guy, but I think every matchup is a pretty bad one for Pettis. He doesn't seem, he's not one of those power dudes. He's so technical that you don't really think about him when these Gilbert Melendez is really talented, and you saw that he could do it if he hadn't gotten caught. But like Ben Henderson, you put those guys together on paper, Ben Henderson should never even have a close fight with Pettis.
And twice now.
And
Dude,
twice, Cerrone
Cerrone
shouldn't even have. I
heard a great quote, and they were like, the best striker in the lightweight division has just submitted 2 people who'd never been submitted in his past 2 fights. And they were like, that's dangerous. And it is. If he can, I mean, he's good. He's definitely getting good. Like, definitely had my doubts about him as a champion, but I mean, he keeps
How do you argue with
Can't argue with this.
You can't argue with finish wins.
Finishes over 2 people who had never been finished in a row, and I mean, they were decisive, and they were early, first and second round.
I mean, right off the bat, he's
and
already.
And this coming back off of 15 months and an injury. I mean, I'm really impressed with him as a champion.
Oh, for sure. And then you have one weight class up. We got to figure out who the King of the Hill was, and it was a surprise to many. Not to a few, but to many. And that was Johnny Hendricks defending his welterweight title against Robbie Ruthless Lawler in a fight that is categorized in my mind as a fight that goes in there with like a Machida Shogun 1 or a Henderson Edgar 2 or any decision that you're like, I don't
GSP.
think that is right.
Here's the thing, though. What happened with this fight, which I didn't really put it together. I just didn't think about it that much when it happened. But now that everyone's been talking about it for a full day, and I've thought about it more, it starts a debate that everyone had kind of put to bed like years ago. This is more of a debate from back in like the Jake Shields and the John Fitch days when we had to deal with all of these wrestlers, and it's in the eyes of the judges. It's controlling via grappling versus doing damage and trying to finish the fight. What everyone's been saying pretty much is that universally the people that think that Robbie won, they give him the first, and then, which he clearly won. I mean, he came out just blazing, killed
definitely, even with that takedown at the end
in the first.
Yeah.
And then I think it was pretty clearly Johnny Hendrix's in the second and third, and then he was they were both gassed, and Robbie tried to finish him in the fourth and fifth, whereas Hendrix would just take him down, or take him up against the fence, and would just hold him there. Just lay there, wouldn't do anything to try to finish, try to hurt him, try to take him out of the fight. Whereas he would hold him there for 3 and 4 minutes, where you would say, he's controlling the round, you're going to give him the points for the decision. But he wasn't trying to do anything. Where when that last minute, when Lawler could get off, he was throwing, he was hurting him, he was trying to finish him, and he was rocking him bad. And I'm not disappointed either way. It was a split decision.
I'm not either.
I was personally going for Lawler. I did think at the time that Johnny Hendrix actually won. I gave him the decision win. But the more I've been thinking about it, I'm alright with it. And what changes it even more for me, Johnny Hendrix himself thinks that he lost. I mean, he's been right afterward. Quotes they were quoting in the cage. As soon as his corner thought that he lost the fourth and fifth, and as soon as the fight was over, Johnny was like, "I lost that," and they were like, "Nah, we don't know that you lost that." And he was like, "I lost it." Then at the post fight, he was like, "I didn't fight the fourth and fifth round." He was like, "I was tired. I just didn't fight." He said the biggest reason is because he walks around at 215. Why are you walking around at 215 when you fight at 170? And he was like, I'm going to change my diet. And he was like, I'm going to try to get down and just walk around, wait to 195, which of course is going to help. Why in God's name are you walking around at 215 when you are a champion at 170? That's a ridiculous weight cut. So yeah, overall, I'm fine with it. Now the big question becomes, they are, again, every single time they get themselves into this situation, they finally promise someone a title shot. Doesn't work out.
Not sure.
Now we're not sure. We had a promised title shot to Rory McDonald in Canada, which is another big deal. They probably already set up for a large arena in Canada early next year. But now, personally, I would rather see Hendrix Lawler 3. But Lawler had to win 2 fights to get back to here. Should Johnny Hendrix have to fight to get back?
That's the feeling I have. Is just, I'm really tired of immediate rematches.
Yeah.
I'm very tired of it. It makes divisions crawl. It makes it crawl, and you get guys that don't get their shots, that should get their shots. Like this fight, it was so close. It was so close, and it really was about that debate of what's more valuable, controlling the fight or trying to end the fight. And, personally, I always err on the side of, if you're not trying to actively end a fight, you shouldn't get points, really. But unfortunately, the way that we're traditionally scored is, if you can't get off your back, you're losing the round. And so this fight was close in that respect, where the last fight was close in the stand-up department, because there really wasn't too much grappling. Grappling decided the 5th round, but not enough really to judge it on grappling at all. But who wouldn't want to see a rematch between McDonald and Lawler?
Yeah.
I think in a 5-round fight, I think that may go a little bit differently, and I think that McDonald has made some definite improvements since that fight.
Yeah.
In his fight against
Safdie.
Yeah, Safdie, but also in his fight against Woodley.
Yeah.
He looked awesome against
Woodley.
Woodley.
Fight, yeah.
Technically superior, not afraid of the power of Woodley. And the same thing with Safadine, his technical skill is getting better every day. And he may not have the crazy highlights that a lot of guys have, but he's able to win strategically. And I think that's a cool matchup that I hope to see. Because I want to see Rory get a shot.
Yeah.
I think it's
the
ready
thing to do next. But at some point down the line, I feel like Hendricks and Lawler is just another classic. It's a Dos Santos Velasquez. It's two people that are literally completely evenly matched. They are rivals, and they may not dislike each other, but like they are at the almost exact same skill level, and it's just someone said earlier they were like out of 10 rounds. I mean, it's still 5-5. I mean, we still don't really know. And yeah, I'm really looking forward. Eventually down the line, we'll get that third fight, and it'll be great. I mean, the welterweight division is on right now.
And that's the
without
thing.
With GSP, we would have got none of this.
Oh, if you put Hendricks back into the mix of the welterweight division, that's a scary dude to fight next.
Matchups. Well,
that's a scary dude to fight next.
A lot of people are busy right now. Welterweight's pretty booked up. We'll have to see how some things shake out. I also think Hendricks, while I don't think he's going to take a big break by any means. I think he's going to take a little bit of time off just to try to readjust his lifestyle to not eating as much and to staying at a lighter weight. I'm going to say it takes a couple weeks to adjust to that. And then, yeah, I mean, depending on how long the time shakes out, given the winner of Gastelum Woodley, but I mean, that fight really doesn't happen until February, so if he's trying to wait that long, that'd be an awesome matchup. Gastelum or Woodley, awesome fight for Johnny Hendricks. Yeah.
For sure.
So 181 was great, and we keep the time is now train rolling. We have 2 events coming up this week. On Friday, we crown a new women atomweight champion.
Strawweight, right? Or is it
strawweight? It is strawweight. Sorry, I had atomweight when Michelle Watterson losing on my mind.
That was a bad deal for her.
So, women's strawweight will be crowned with the conclusion of the Ultimate Fighter that I just don't care about. That is on Friday, and then on Saturday we have the next Fox card where we're getting Dos Santos and Stipe Miocic. Finally. Dos
Santos. Glad they rebooked that.
I'm very glad. It's going to be an awesome fight. Dos Santos hasn't fought since the third Velasquez fight all the way back in last October, over a year ago. And he new camp. He's training now. He left MMA Brothers. He's training with Barao and Aldo and Nova Uniao.
With what's his name? Pedinaris? Yeah, his new.
He moved. I mean, it's going to be a new Dos Santos. I'm hoping this move is enough just to get him just that little bit more than he needed to beat Velasquez. Because I swear to God, he can kill anyone in the heavyweight division that they give him, except for Velasquez, and that is the worst fate of any fighter in the world.
I just want Velasquez to maybe, like, if you're Dos Santos, you gotta wish. You have to be thinking in the back of your head, I need to win now, and I need for Velasquez not to be able to come back in May.
Join us next week, ladies and gentlemen, for the next epic installment of the MMA Brothers, as we recap 2 fight cards. New women's champ, new Dos Santos Miocic winner. Be here.
My name's Kobe McKinley.
Brad Jones. Till next week.